Oh, wow. Now, how are you? The last time I saw you, you were wearing... You went through a phase of wearing the glasses on the top of the head.
Yeah, that's when I just needed them for reading. Now I need them all the time.
Yeah.
When I needed them for reading, I'd have them on top of my head because I literally couldn't see anything. And then they just got worse, as they do. When you get older, Tommy, you know, when you get older.
Tell us, what's America like?
At the moment, it's bonkers. It's hard to believe. It's much more provincial than Ireland is. Like, we live in a place called Davenport, and our local newspaper is the Davenport Village. If it doesn't happen in Davenport, it's not in the Davenport Village. It could happen in New York, it could happen anywhere, it could be anything big.
Yeah, yeah.
But they're very, very local. They think, you know, especially where we are in Florida, they think Trump is God.
Yeah.
So it's weird. It's weird.
When you're moved to a place like that, you have to have two connections.
Okay.
One is with the place, and the second is with the people. So even though you can say, okay, these people are very localised, what's your graw for them like?
Well, I think for me, it's not just the American people, it's just foreign people. I'm the youngest of a family of 11. And most of them were immigrants. Most of them immigrated. So, you know, I went to a school when I was 9 years of age. I went to a private school recommended by a judge. And, after graduating from there, my mother decided it'd be a good idea to keep me out of trouble during the summers when we were off school, to keep sending me to different sisters or brothers around the world. So I got to visit lots of different places, like California, Toronto, London, a lot of times in London. So I got used to traveling, I got used to meeting different people. So I think it's that, initially.
How long are you over there?
18 years now.
And in a general way, would you look after yourself? Like, over the years, would you have...
I'm not a gym guy, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't drink. I'm not a gambler.
Did you ever drink?
Yeah, I'd have the odd one. Vodka, so that I can't taste it, you know.
Yeah.
Vodka and Coke. But I wouldn't be a drinker, no.
Smoking or anything like that? Or?
Oh, God, yeah, I love me smoke. Yeah, I know it's going to kill me, but, you know.
So you still puff away?
Yeah, I'd look stupid doing nothing.
Yeah, you would.
They say if you stop smoking, that you live another 10 years, but I don't think you do. I think it just feels like 10 years.
Yeah, yeah. Do you have a sense of having made it in terms of your career and your work in that?
No, it's an interesting question. No, I never.
You can't.
No, I never.
Just to frame it in my imagination and in yours coming from somebody else, you can't get bigger than Mrs. Brown. I know with ego, we always kind of, when success happens, part of you is thinking, yeah, why not? But I'm just wondering, in your sense of self, is there a feeling of accomplishment or?
Well, there's obviously there's a feeling of accomplishment every time you walk on and off the stage and that you've completed a night. There's always a great feeling of accomplishment there because you're terrified going on every time you go on. You know, this is the night that they're going to find out I'm only a waiter. Yeah. And then when you come off and go, oh, they didn't find out yet, great. So there's a great sense of accomplishment there. But I think you know, made it. I think you have to define what made it means.
For yourself?
No, I know, I understand that, but I mean, made it would mean that you had a target or you had a goal to be a particular place and that you get there. And so I've made it.
Yeah.
I never had a goal. Honest to God, Tommy, I never had a goal. My mother had a great saying about success. She said, sometimes success is like disco music, you know? Don't analyse it, just dance to it. And that's what I've been doing. I've just been dancing to it. And as it's going on, of course, when you walk into an arena and you see 15,000 people there, you know, there's two feelings. First of all, wow, and the other one is, what the fuck are they expecting? Yeah. But then there's no difference. And I've learned that. I mean, I was a waiter for 18 years. And I like to think of myself at that time of being a funny waiter, you know, being part of the entertainment when they wanted it at a table. And there's very little difference between an audience of 4 and an audience of 4,000. You still have to have your timing right. You still have to have your you know what you're going to do. Or if you don't know what you're going to do, be like you or I, where we're fairly good. You know, you and I would be two of the best off the cuff, I'd say.
Yes, we would, Brendan.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, I'm listening. So, you know, but you'd have to define Am I happy? Absolutely. Have I got more than I ever dreamed I would ever have? Absolutely. So is that the thing that brings me joy? No, it's not the thing that brings me joy. The thing that brings me joy is that I walk out on the stage every night dressed as a woman, and the girl who comes on to play my daughter is my wife. You know, that gets weird, but it's funny.
Yeah.
Buster Brady is my son. Marie is my daughter. Bono, who plays Mrs. Brown's grandson, is really my grandson. Trevor, who plays Mrs. Brown's son, is my son-in-law. When we go to Australia for 6 weeks, we go en masse.
Yeah.
We go as a family. I mean, nothing gives me more joy than being with my grandkids. And every morning when we're on tour, they knock at the door for a cup of tea at 8:30 in the morning.
Can you talk to me about happiness and what that feels like, and what is the nature of happiness?
Not enough people ask that question. Because a lot of people confuse being not unhappy with being happy.
Yeah.
Being not unhappy is not happy. Being not unhappy just means you're not unhappy. And you're prepared to settle for that. Nobody has to settle for anything. Happiness is an entitlement. Every single one of us are entitled to be happy. And sometimes to make the changes in your life, to make that happiness, to have that happiness, are hard choices. They're difficult choices. It could be leaving a job that you've been in that pays well, but you're dreadfully unhappy in it, or you're not unhappy, but you're not happy in, to take the risk to leave and try something. Happiness is trying. Happiness is not the end, it's the journey.
I suppose it's a bit more active than I thought. I guess what I was...
Did you think that happiness was a state of, you know, a still state? That it wasn't active?
Maybe.
But do you remember moments in your life when you're happy?
Yeah, in my life now, there would be... I wouldn't describe myself as a happy person.
But that's your fault.
Yeah.
No, really, I'm not being accusatory when I say that.
Yeah, well, talk to me about that then, about what you mean by that.
There's a thing you do with PMA, when practicing a positive mental attitude, and that is when you get out of bed in the morning and you don't feel happy. Yeah. You don't feel great. Go to the mirror and look in the mirror and go, I feel fantastic. Oh, I feel fantastic. And for the next hour, pretend you're happy. Pretend you're fantastic. And by the end of that hour, you will be happy. And you will be fantastic. And you'll be happy to do whatever it is, no matter whether that's going to play with your kids or going to court. It doesn't matter. You're going to be happy. You're going to feel a state of happiness. That state of happiness is active. It's in action. Most things are in action. I had a weird thing. I don't want to blow your mind with it, but I had a weird thing with I adored my mother. I absolutely adored her. My dad died when I was only 9, so I grew up with my mother. It was me and her. I was the youngest of the kids. And she was a very sharp woman, and she would see things coming down the line. So I'd be trying something, and she'd know this is not going to work. And she'd say to me, bring this to a close. Bring it to a close now. You always had to finish things with her. Bring it to a close now because it's not going to work. And you'd bring it and move on to the next thing. So I never failed. I never had a failure. Everything was going grand. The best thing she ever did for me, as it turns out, was die. She died when I was 28. And for the next 5 years, every single thing I touched just went to crap. Just went... I thought, I'm a complete loser. But I started to realise that it's only in losing, it's only in failing, that you learn. You learn nothing from succeeding. It's only in failing when you realise you find yourself. You find how you cope with things is where you find your strength. So the happiness thing is, and I'm not talking about you specifically.
Yeah.
It's not going to find you. You have to find it. You can't sit at home and go, where's my happiness? If you've got young kids, and I tell the actors who are with us at the moment, who work with us, we get a lot of time off. We work a lot, but we get a lot of big time off. And they say, maybe I should look for work. I said, no, spend it with your kids. Because my daughter, Fiona, I remember changing her nappy. I remember teaching her to walk. I remember her first day at school. And then it seemed like the next day, she was on my arm and I was walking down the aisle. Yeah. It was like that. I missed the journey because I was working. I missed the journey and I forgot. It's not about giving her away as the happiness. The journey was the happiness. So I've learned.
What's been the most surprising thing about success?
It's funny, my ma warned me about this. He said, you're going to struggle and struggle and struggle for success in some form. But as soon as you achieve it, the first thing that's going to strike you is, that was so easy. That was just so easy. And I think what she was trying to tell me was, I tried to be so many things. I tried to be, tried to be a publisher. I tried to be this. I tried to be that. I tried to be so many other things. I needed to be me. The time when I am most myself, particularly in stand-up, when I get on that stage, it's me and the microphone, nowhere to hide, and I just bare my balls. You do it. You know what I'm talking about. It is terrifying. But I'm the most myself when I'm doing that. That's me in the raw. And when you come off stage and go, I had 2 hours of being me, oh, I loved it. And that really is it. Just
when you say being you, though, what?
I spent my life saying the things I think people wanted to hear when I was working. I was a worker to supervisors who couldn't think half as quick as I could, but I tell them they were wonderful because it kept me in my job. I did what I thought was the right thing because I didn't want people to think ill of me or whatever, and it's not about that. It's recognising that you look in the mirror and you say, I'm a good guy.
Yeah.
I'm a good guy. I'm a really nice guy. And I do my best to do the right thing. I don't always succeed because I'm human. But I know I'm doing my best and I know I'm a good guy. And then looking and going, I fucking like you. And I do. I like me. So when you like you start to be you more. And the problem is that you're afraid if somebody finds out that you do particular things in your life or whatever, that, oh, they won't think less of me. Who cares what anybody thinks of you? Honest to God, what do you think of yourself? That's all that matters.
You're quite remarkable.
It's very kind of you, thank you.
You've got you've I don't know if self-belief is the right word, but you're...
Cocky.
No, it's not that. It's I don't know what it is. It's maybe it's an energy or something, or a commitment, or... I'm
hopeful that if you blank your mind, and it's one of the things I did tonight before I came out, It's what I did the very first Late show I ever did. I spent the weeks before going, if he says this, I'll say that. If he says this, I'll say that. If he asks that question, I'll do this. This will be funny. Yeah. And I went, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're doing it again. You're trying to be somebody else. For that Late show, and just there now, before I came out, I blanked myself. I don't know what you're going to ask, and it's immaterial what you're going to ask.
Yeah.
But I know you wanted to talk to me. You didn't want to talk to Mrs. Brown. You didn't want to talk to somebody who was pretending. You wanted to talk to me.
Yeah.
So I blanked everything, and I said, well, I'll answer the questions as me. In the hope that you know you, and that whatever dilemma comes at you, or whatever question comes at you, whatever situation comes at you, that the thing that will come to the fore with you, because you know yourself, is the right thing.
Can I ask you a queer one now? It just came into my head there.
Thank you.
So you carry... Your mother might be dead, but she's still alive.
Oh, Jesus, yeah.
In you. And you dress up as a woman.
Yeah. Wow.
So what's the...
I don't know. Maybe could be problems there.
Do you look like her when you have the stuff on?
No. Well, a little bit probably, yeah. Probably a little bit. She was a big woman. She was a very big woman. No, people used to say to me, is Mrs. when they read the books, when they were doing a book tour in America, they'd say, is Mrs. Brown your mom, based on your mom? And I'd say no, she's not, because my mum it's just extraordinary. She began her life as a nun. She had 11 kids, so she's obviously right not to be a nun.
Shouldn't go back to the convent after 11.
Never back to
it was all a big mistake!
No, she misread her vocation altogether. She went on to teach languages, and then was fired because she married my dad. A married woman couldn't teach then. So she said, I'm not having that. And she joined the union and then eventually went on to become the first woman elected to Irish
That's right, yeah.
Parliament as a Labour TD. Once she had 11 kids. And we lived in a 2-roomed house with an outdoor toilet. You know, and she was just quite an extraordinary woman. And I used to say, no, Mrs. Brown. But actually, I think Mrs. Brown is like my mum, except she doesn't have the education. She doesn't have that you know, her degree from Galway University that my mother had. Mm. She has a wisdom, though, that my mother had. And that wisdom is based around, it has to be good for the family. I think Agnes is like that. To Agnes Brown, it's about the family. Sure, if you kill somebody in O'Connell Street, if you shoot them, she will absolutely, she baits around the house. Then she get the shovel and help you bury the body. Because you're her clan. To have somebody in your life, I have Jenny, thank God, to have somebody in your life who cares. The rest of the world doesn't give a shit about you, Tommy. Trust me. Maybe for the time you're on TV, they like you, but after that, they don't think about you. They don't think about me. But I've got someone in my life who every single day cares how I am. And that's so fucking rare. If you can find that, snap it up, baby. I don't care about her.
Yeah.
She's in the green room now going, really?
Do you have wounds? Scars?
Emotional scars?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's things that you don't surmount, you know? My mother passing away. My mother. That was really tough. You know, it really. I was very young when my son died. That was one because he was our first child. He was my first child, and I, like everybody else, I had all the things figured out in my head. White picket fence, swing in the garden. You know, he'd play football, just like his dad did, and I'd go to the games with him, blah, blah, blah. And it changed overnight, and it leaves a hole, you know. And I'm very lucky to have 3 fantastic kids, but they don't fill that gap. Not that you want them to, but they don't. Mm. But other than that, Jimmy, I'm fine.
I wasn't aware of that, Brendan, that you had a son that died.
Yeah, Brendan Jr.
When was that?
1979. Because he would have been 21 at the... sorry, 1979. He would have been 21 at the turn of the millennium.
So how old is he when he died?
Just a couple of weeks.
Oh, right, okay.
But then Fiona came along, then Danny came along, then Eric came along. And, you know, I lived up to what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a father, and I was. But
you're wild crack on stage, Brendan. There's a wildness to Mrs. Brown that I think the show came into criticism from people in the industry who maybe just couldn't understand its popularity, couldn't understand the common touch that you had. And every time I watch it, it makes me laugh. I can, as a fellow professional, I can see some of the jokes coming down the line. I can see that, but it kind of makes absolutely no difference because
but the thing is, the audience see the jokes. Well. The audience know what's going to come in the punchline. And if we don't deliver that punchline, they'd be so disappointed. They know it's coming, but they're waiting for the punchline. They're waiting for Agnes to say it.
But you do it with such joy and abandon, Bren, and I think that's that's the attractive thing about it.
No, thank you. I love it. I absolutely, I love her.
And more power to you.
Thanks, Tony.
And thank you so much for coming on.
I couldn't wait. I've been waiting nearly 2 years to do this.
It's been powerful. Thank you so much for coming on. Ladies and gentlemen, Brendan O Carroll. That was something else, fella. That was something else. Something else, fella.